Hello friends, Tanya here with Spellbinders 2023 Crafty Advent Calendar, Day 23. Today and tomorrow are the last 2 days of the Advent Calendar, and it has been a really fun ride. Here is what was in door number 23. It's another die set and very well stuck together. Had to bring in my scissors to get this open. Boy, I really struggled with this. I will get there. It looks like a sentiment set again, and there are 3 words here with a shadow and a detail die, and it says, "Thinking of you," another great addition to your stash. I die cut these from some gold cardstock and from some brushed white cardstock. And I'm going to layer these together. The eye, the tittle of the eye is included in this die, so you don't have, or in one piece. So the tittle is on the eyes in thinking. Boy, I speak good English, hey. You don't have to worry about losing the tittle because it's all one piece, which I really like. The font is a fun, swoopy, more traditional cursive style, which works with lots of different projects, lots of different styles, and it's very easily read, which is a nice feature. I am adding some extra layers of cardstock behind these sentiments in preparation for adding them to the front of cards with the most dramatic effect. Here we have all 3 words, "Thinking of you," and they turned out beautifully. Next, I'm going to use the geometric flower Glimmer foil plate and the coordinating layering geometric flower stencils. And that's a quick preview of what this can look like. I'm going to foil an entire half sheet of cardstock. So this is 5.5 inches by 8.5 inches. I found the center mark there, the 4 1/4 mark. I'm using some best ever craft tape to tack this down. Folded that back, and I have some Aura foil here that I cut. So each roll is about just shy of 5 inches wide. So I cut this to 5.5 inches long, tucked that under our plate, put it on our hot platform, let that heat up, and ran it through the die cut machine. And you can see some little nubbies sticking out the edges. And that indicates where the circles are. So you can carefully line those up to create a continuous pattern. That is one of my favorite things to do, especially since I love 5x7 cards. So I've lined that back up, added the best ever craft tape. I'm going to lay down my Aura Glimmer foil and carefully flip that hinged plate back over. I do put my fingers on the tape to make sure it doesn't let go while I'm doing the flipping back over. And that is the completed foiled pattern. You'll notice that there is one row of flowers that doesn't have a line intersecting, but that's okay. We're going to use Twisted Citron, tumbled glass, and a squeezed lemonade to do the stenciling on this pattern. I'm only using 1 color for the flowers. You can use 2. It does add a nice detail, but I just wanted to keep this less busy. This is going to be a busy enough background without adding a second color to the petals. Now I have this on my extra Altenew stamp wheel. That's the words I was looking for. The extra stamp wheel insert. This is, I think it's 7.5 inches square, which works fine for me. And it is made out of the same thing as our photopolymer stamps. So it's got that nice stick and it's easy to clean. I did take an extra sheet of acetate from some stamp packaging and use that to mask off the part of the paper that I'm not currently stenciling. I have gone through with the first two layers of the stencils, which are the flower petals. And now we get the green background, kind of it could be leaves, it could be a field of green behind the flowers. You could use whatever color you really wanted there, but I like the green there. And then we're going to use the Squeeze Lemonade for the flower centers. These line up pretty easily as long as you don't let the stencil slip like I did when you press it down into the photopolymer. And I am loving that I don't have to take the time to tape each section. You just pop it on and pop it off. Now that I've completed the first half of the stenciling, we'll flip this around and do the second half. I'm going to carefully line up that acetate sheet again so I don't get any inking where I don't want it. And we're actually going to go in the reverse order this time, just to show you that it is just as easy to line this up with in the opposite direction. So we have the Squeeze Lemonade for the flower centers. And then we're going to take the green field color and line those up with those pointy squares and ink over that. And I don't have to add a whole lot more to that sponge. There's actually some ink on the stencil still, so I can push that around a little bit and get it onto the cardstock. And then one of the layers of flowers. And I'm trying to keep the amount of inking even to what was on the previous section. Almost through with that layer. And then I will put on the last layer of the stencil. These stencils have been around, or this foiling plate and coordinating stencil has been around for a while. I don't remember if it came out last spring or if it came out a year ago in the spring, but I have really been wanting to play with these again. They're beautiful stencils, and I think there are 3 different designs of these style of foiling plates with coordinating stencils. Gorgeous. And to kind of hide the fact that this section does not have a foiled line, I went back and added some ink blending to even it out between those petals. And we're once again going to stencil on the inside of the card. I'm not doing a hard and fast edges on this. I want this to kind of fade out to the edges of the inside of this card. So I'm using a lighter pressure and not re-inking my little sponge at all. We've done the first 2 layers. Now we're going to layer up the pointy squares. This is a little more challenging when you don't have the foiling to guide you, but it is quite doable. You don't have to use the stencils with the foil plate and vice versa. They do work well independently, but it is a little more challenging to line up the pattern without the foiling. Next, we're going to pull out the Forget-Me-Not and Ladybugs dies. This is a Susan Tierney-Cockburn floral die set. She has the most intricate floral 3D die sets, and they are absolutely stunning. And this is the toolkit for creating the flowers. It has a lot of pieces. I actually have 2 of the toolkits because I wanted my tool-in-one to have the 2 different size styluses. Actually, I think there's 3 different size styluses, and this leaf tool. This actually presses in a crease line, usually for veining in your leaves. I decided to try to put, honestly, it's been a long time since I made the leaves and the flowers that you see at the top of the screen. And luckily I was able to find more of the same cardstock that I used to create these flowers, because I want to make one more set for this card. Plus, this way I actually get to show you how to assemble the flowers. As you can see, I'm just creating some shaping on each of these petals, just using my fine tip tweezer to hold the petal and fold it over the tweezer. This adds a beautiful layer of dimension to these flowers, and it really brings them to life and makes them look more realistic. There are 6 flowers that die cut all at once. And then the little flower centers, it die cuts 6 of those all at once. It cuts 1 branch and 2 leaves on each of those dies. So that is enough for 1 full branch of flowers. I think these are so pretty, and they are not as dimensional as some of her flower die sets. They are absolutely stunning. I am slowly working on getting all of the dies that she has out. And when I have time to fuss and fiddle, these are the most stunning, eye-catching items. I made my mom a framed wall ornament or picture with these, and she loves it. It hangs in her room all the time. I made a poinsettia version on a card that was an easel card, and I gave that to a lady who has been helping me de-stash my house, not my crafty stuff, but everything else. I mean, I did raise 4 of my own children, and while my children were at home, they tended to bring home stray kids who'd stay with us for years. And so my house has been stocked very full of human beings and things for a long time, and I'm trying to weed it out. My husband and I are the only ones that live in our house anymore. Hey, let's go back to what we're actually doing here. These are Prills, P-R-I-L-L-S. I know you couldn't read that on the bottle very well. And this color is called Power Outage. It is these little tiny, various size and sometimes oddly shaped beads or circles that work great for flower centers and pollen, and they're beautiful for the Susan Tierney-Cockburn very realistic flower die sets. That's what I have them for. I have several colors. Spellbinders carries all of the different colors of Prills. Okay, I shouldn't say all, but lots of colors of Prills. I do love these little triangle trays. I picked these up off of Amazon a long time ago for a low price. I think it was less than $10 for a set of 12. And those little paint palettes that I use to sort things and to mix paints in. I got a set of like 50 of them for $10 cheap off of Amazon. We are going to use the Criss 3D embossing folder and the Essential Florals. I think those. I just got these in the mail. Floral Reflection. I think that's what that is. And I die cut the white cardstock with the Floral Reflection die, and then I ran it through the to be embossed with that 3D embossing folder. There is a little extra cardstock behind the central image here, and it looks like there's a whole lot of space on here. There's not. I've had some questions about this acrylic block and the grid pattern. That grid pattern, as you can see, is just like a plastic cling. The block was from my Stampin' Up! Days. I've had that for 15 years probably. Whenever Stampin' Up! Went to the Clearmount stamps, you can get those blocks from a number of sources. In the description box below, there will be lists or a list with all of the products that I use, and I have included at least 3 different sources for an acrylic block that's similar, and I have never really used that for stamping. It's just too big and unwieldy for me to use it for stamping, unless you mounted a stamp on it and then use the paper to the stamp instead of the stamp to the paper method. But I've never really used it for that. I've always used it as a heavyweight block just to help things get adhered. So that's the block. I've had a few questions, and I definitely wanted to answer that question for you all. I am now assembling the front of the card, and there are 6, like I said, 6 little flowers per branch. I am going to do 3 branches here, and I'm just looking at the best placement for each of these. A lot of times I will assemble things like this before I put them on the card, but I really wanted the extra flexibility to put these flowers where I felt they filled in the best. And I thought the forget-me-not little tiny flowers, well, there were a couple reasons I chose to use these. I really needed to use these pretty little flowers that I made a long time ago. And I thought they really fit with the thinking of you. And I suppose after yesterday's phone call with my mom, the whole forget-me-not thought was close to mind. So it just seemed really fitting. And with the sentiment thinking of you, that was just perfection. So I am just using this to fill in a beautiful floral focus around this lovely sentiment. Now, I was supposed to have a whole bunch of people coming over tonight for Christmas for this weekend. However, my oldest son and his wife and my grandson, my 9-year-old grandson, all tested positive for COVID yesterday evening. And now this morning, my husband tested positive for COVID. Now, this is Friday is when I'm filming this and editing this. So Christmas has been postponed a week, which will be a little more difficult because I'm working night shift on Wednesday and Thursday out of town. So I will get home Friday afternoon and people will start to arrive Friday evening. So I better get everything done before I leave on Wednesday morning, afternoon, something like that. I work Wednesday night, not till like 7 o'clock at night. And I live 2.5 hours away from where I'm currently working. So yeah, either I'll leave in the morning and take a nap before work, or I will try to take a nap before I leave in the late afternoon. Yeah, that's a lot to say that plans change quickly. It is the season of sharing, isn't it? But I wish we would stop sharing illness. I did test myself this morning. I was negative for COVID. I'm feeling good after having been sick, getting sick once a month for the last 3 months. I am just happy to not be on the receiving end of that share. I hope everyone else's Christmas is going nice and smooth, that no one's family is having to interrupt the plans because of illness, and all travels are safe. We have about 3 more flowers to attach here, and this is really shaping up. I really am liking how this card turned out, especially when I didn't have a clear-cut plan how I was going to put all of these lovely little flowers on. There it is, the beautiful flowers all attached. I got a little piece of something there, got rid of it with my tweezers, and there's another look at the stenciling on the inside. I hope you enjoyed this video. I enjoyed it as always. If you did, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, now is a great time to do that. And of course, I would love to hear what you have to say about my video. If you're interested in any of the products that I used today, check that description box below. They will be listed and linked as always. And here are a couple more videos I thought you might enjoy. Until tomorrow, bye-bye.